What's up guys, the Pop Punk Dad here, coming at you with another interview, and this time from the Great Heights Band. If the Great Heights Band sounds familiar, it's because not too long ago, I talked to the guys about their sophomore album, rad-pop. The album rad-pop was recorded at singer and guitarist Eric Taft's studio, which has been used by the likes of Panic at the Disco, Taking Back Sunday, Boys Like Girls, All Time Low, and other pop punk hierarchy. The band wrote about 5 albums worth of tunes, it's like 50 or 60 songs, before settling on the dozen that are on this album. I had a chance to catch up with the guys at the Four Chord Music Festival in Pittsburgh, which also included the likes of Less Than Jake, Cartel, Hit the Lights, Anti-Flag, and a whole bill worth of bands. Before we jump into that, click subscribe, duking that like button, ring the bell to stay notified, it's on Deadpool today, post score in the comments, and today's question is going to be, have you ever been to or have you ever heard of the Four Chord Music Festival? What do you think, and let me know. Oh yeah, roll it. What's up guys, it's the Pop Punk Dad here with the guys from the Great Heights Band.
What's up? Hey internet.
You're quicksand. I try to get out, the more I move, you keep pulling me down.
This is your guys' first time on the festival?
Yeah, Four Chord Music Festival, first time ever.
What is your guys' experience been like?
It's been amazing. Honestly, personally, I'm really proud of Richie, our friend Richie from the band Eternal Boy, for pulling all this off. Like from the first moment we stepped in here, it was just like, damn, the organization and the planning and the time that has to go into this and the money and the fucking, just like the resources. Yeah. Crazy. And it's really cool to hear all the bands that are like, thanks to Richie, thanks for doing this, thanks. And it's like, it's cool, and it's a true testament of the Pittsburgh music scene that we've up to this point, we've only ever played acoustic in Pittsburgh, so it's been really awesome. We've been welcomed with big open arms and people really embracing our music, and it's really exciting.
Well, I do want to take a step back. First of all, the day started with a waffle bar, and that's just amazing. And that was put together by Feed the Scene.
Oh yeah, Feed the Scene from Baltimore. They're a nonprofit from Baltimore.
So,
they do catering and like they feed bands, they house bands at the Feed the Scene house in Baltimore.
So it's been really cool to see how this is like. It is Pittsburgh and all, but like there's bands from New York. I mean, we're from Baltimore. I think we're the only Maryland band that's on this show. But PA, New York, Maryland, New Jersey, Ohio. It's really cool to see how this has become like a central location for the community.
Would you like to see this expand to maybe Baltimore, New York?
Totally.
It's actually funny. Earlier, Neil was just like, if Richie brought this to Baltimore, we could get him hooked up with, you know, blah blah blah, and it would just be chill, and it would be. Yeah. I think doing it in other markets would be amazing. It'd be great. And
what's cool is that he has all the branding done already. He has these giant friggin' banners and signs, and like, so all the upfront stuff has been done. At this point, it's like, okay, let's just find a place where we can bring 2,000 people and have a party all day. And we have the connections in Baltimore to do that. So like, we would totally love to do that. I think New York would be cool too. I was talking to someone else today. They're like, well, maybe you're pulling like people that might come from different markets. Maybe you'd be spreading it thin a little bit. But I think Baltimore is actually a really sweet spot because Pittsburgh is 4 hours away.
Yeah. I
think if you did Baltimore, Philly, Pittsburgh, that's probably stretching yourself thin. But even New York, I think, makes some sense, especially considering what bands are.
You guys actually toured with Eternal Boy. How was that tour?
It's great. It's awesome. Those guys are so fun. Great musicians.
Was that how you guys hooked up for this show?
So we, I think after we did that tour, that's when Rishi was like, oh yeah, these guys should be on Four Chord. But we've played with the Space Pimps a bunch before then, and we were familiar with them and knew those guys. We had them on our first CD release back in 2015. Yeah.
Doing that tour with them was super dope because they're really tight band. They're just a good band. They're fun to hang out with. It was just a really easy like vibe. Because sometimes you tour with bands where you're like, yeah, we're on tour with blah blah blah, but you really only see them when you're playing and when they're on stage, and we're not really friends. Yeah. And we've done that, weeks on end on tours, and like we don't know those people.
Yeah.
But now we actually have good buds.
If you could put a tour together, and you guys were on it, or a festival together, what top 3 bands like ever?
Ever? 3 bands ever?
Well, I'd say like in your same genre.
Right. We've been asked this question before, and I think what I settled on was Weezer, the Get Up Kids, Punchline, and Us. is what I think. I think that's like it's like a nerdy, synthy, but like edgy kind of tour. I think that package makes sense.
If Motion City Soundtrack was back,
dude, if they were still a band, of course.
Yeah, you read my mind. I was gonna pick other bands just to like, you know, be contrarian.
Yeah, no. What's your thing?
But like, you know, Motion City was at the top of my head just now. I think it'd be cool to do something with like a band like the Strokes, or like, or with like, there's a band called Roswell Kid that's really cool, much smaller band, but really good band. I'd love to do a tour with them. Like thinking back to like old school stuff, like doing something with like the Monkees, if they were like a young band still, would be really cool. The Beach Boys would be rad. Dude, you know, even at their age now. Would be
have
really
you
rad.
seen the Brian Wilson movie?
Of course, Love and Mercy.
Mercy.
So good.
It's one of my favorite movies. I actually thought about it this morning.
Yeah.
I was showering. Yeah.
I watched that movie probably once a month.
Really?
Yeah, once a month.
Dude,
It's
Paul
that
Dano, so good in that
Yeah.
movie. Paul Dano's amazing. Holy shit.
And then seeing all the crazy shit that like Brian Wilson did, like jumping inside the piano, bringing animals in.
Totally.
So the last time I talked to you guys was on my blog. It was when rad-pop first came out.
Yep.
What has the response been like that for you guys?
Man, it's been awesome. I think, what was it, the first 2 weeks we had 40,000 streams on it. And that's like a small little indie band from, you know, we're on an indie label, but we basically did the record ourselves and like...
In his shed, basically.
Okay, when you put it like that, it's not like a whole, it's a studio.
It's a studio, but it's like, you know, behind his house. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like kind of like
But I think now we just hit 80,000 streams or 100, something close to 100. And just people over the last month will be out at a show in Baltimore. Will even here, people are like, "Saw you were on the bill. Had never heard of you before. Looked up your music. It's my favorite record of any band on the bill." Like, that is insane.
Yeah.
That's so humbling and flattering. And like people was like, showed it to my friend who doesn't even like rock music, only listens to hip hop. Brought him out because he listened to your record and really liked it. It's like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So
I was at a show Friday just supporting some friends. There's actually a band called X Nations where one of the members from New York. And so anytime we play in New York, he comes to our show. Anytime they're in Baltimore, I gotta go see him. So I go to the show and like probably, like not even exaggerating, 10 or 12 different people came up to me and was like, "Yo, you're in the Great Heights band. I fucking love rad-pop." And I'm like, "Whoa, that's cool. Did you buy it?" Because because I have like 500 vinyls sitting in my basement. Buy the record.
It's in my car right now.
yeah, funny you should say that. I carry so many copies.
But
of it.
it's like super humbling and also really exciting that like songs we spent a ton of time on and put everything into are really resonating with people. Because you never know. Like you spend all this time on songs you think are cool, and then you put it out and like it could totally flop.
It's hard to tell if you're just like so lost in your own sauce that you're just like, this is awesome. We're fucking killing it. And you put it out, you're like, we're really like,
Wasn't that good?
Yeah, wasn't that great?
So you guys said you put out vinyls. I also noticed you guys put out cassette tapes, which is super retro. Have you ever thought of putting out maybe like an 8-track?
Nope.
Just to say,
Man, I was so adamantly against the cassette tape, and I was like, here's the thing: the CD it was meant to replace the medium of cassette tape.
Yeah.
It was meant to be like, it's just as portable and it never degrades. And vinyl is like, okay, cool, it's not meant to really be portable, but it sounds so much better. It's a different listening experience. So like, there's a place for vinyl and CD to coexist. For me, there's like, what's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Hey, man.
Good to see you.
give me a hug.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Say hi to the interview. This is Corey from
This is
Punchline.
Corey from
you're guys are
Punchline.
interviewing right now?
What's up?
Hey!
Of course, playing drums with Bayside tonight. Yeah, dude. But it's
Totally keeping that in there.
Speaking of Punchline, but yeah, I was so adamantly against cassette tapes. It's like, what is the upside other than they're cheap to produce and they look cool, and sometimes, every once in a while, someone's like, "Hey, I drive a 1996 Honda Accord. This will go great with my."
Right.
It's funny, actually. A buddy of mine just bought a car and he only has a cassette player, and he's like, "Yeah, I was sitting in my room dubbing, that band Brockhampton, the hip hop group. He's like, I was just dubbing a bunch of new music onto cassette tapes from Spotify." He's like ripping them.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like Eric and I always like argue about silly things. We both are like really set in our ways. We're both really stubborn, and we kind of like push each other in different ways to do different things. And so like the Cassettes was definitely my idea, and he's always been like,
I don't want to do it.
Why would we do Cassettes?
Dude, we ordered 50. The record came out 3 years ago. We're not out of them.
We ordered 70. We ordered 70. It's taken us 3 years
to not sell out of it. And there was a guy walking past our table and he was like, I think it's so cool that you have cassette tapes. And he just kept walking.
So what is the most obscure like merchandise thing you've ever seen a band have?
Man, I mean, Less Than Jake is always killing it with their crazy merch designs. There for a while they did Zippo lighters, they did inflatable firecrackers. They did a record in 2003 called Anthem that was like the firecrackers was like the theme of the artwork, and they had these inflatable firecrackers that you could buy. A cereal box that was filled with 7-inch records. That was each one was a different color to kind of match the marshmallows of Lucky Charms.
Dude, that's
so. I mean, they're
Less Than Jake. I know. They do crazy stuff like that.
Kiss, of course, does the coffins.
Just today, Seaway had some fanny packs. I saw some of those Seaway packs. I thought that was really cool.
Warped Tour last year, a lot of bands had fidget spinners. I just saw a friend of mine just went to go see Alkaline Trio, and you know those things that you clip on the back of your phone that pop out so you don't like drop your phone on your face when you're in bed. Alkaline Trio made those.
During our release party, Eric's girlfriend Jenny made candles, custom candles. Then the scent was based on the sound of the song. Dude, so she made candles
so for the 3 singles off of rad-pop we put out so far was Straight to Hell, Quicksand, and Better Things. And she like she listened to the record and she was like, yeah, this one, it's kind of dark, kind of feeling like a a cinnamon or like a and she like she did the colors to match the vibe of the. It was cool.
We called it Rad Wax.
Rad Wax, yeah.
She's to get an Etsy page going and keep selling.
Yeah, I know.
We've been telling her.
Totally. Yeah, people were loving them, and Rishi bought 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah, they sold out within like 15 minutes. Like
before any bands played.
People just were like, "Holy crap, you have
candles, not
candles?"
cassettes.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying.
That's what we should do.
Okay, I'm into it. If people buy them, of course I'm into it.
Right.
Like, far be it from me to turn down.
What is your band's mission statement?
For me, it's about making songs that I'm happy with and love playing and are fun for me and stimulating for me, and that I can at the end of the day put a stamp on and be proud of. But in turn they also resonate with people. I don't want to be so self-indulgent and it's like, this is what I want. That's all that matters, because that's not true. If I want people to care about our band, I don't know. For me, it's about connecting with people, and if we can do that through music that we are also passionate about and love and have fun playing, then win-win.
Yeah, I agree.
Really
I guess writing songs that matter, and continuing to try to innovate and evolve what we're trying to do, just to keep it interesting. We're starting. This is really not a mission statement, but we're starting to think about how can we expand what we're doing beyond being a band. Like what's so cool about Less Than Jake is like that's really a community. There's like Less Than Jake forums where Eric's made good friends.
I've met so many
there's
friends that now I meet up at Less Than Jake shows. Yeah. And it's like it's
more
just
than
I've met them through forums and like just it's a community.
Yeah, so like simple things like let's host a barbecue and just invite everyone over, and then like people can play music if they want to. Like it doesn't always have to be like come to my show, buy my record.
Every time we've done 2 record release shows in Baltimore now, and every time we've done that, it's been less of like, obviously who's on the bill and that kind of thing, that's important, but we've also been like, okay, how can we make this an engaging event so it feels more like a party and more like a celebration than a show?
Yeah.
It's like our first release show, it was beach themed. We bought a bunch of inflatable palm trees and we're giving out leis and like, it was like, and everyone was wearing, Hawaiian shirts, and it was just like cheesy but like fun. We had drink specials. And
we had a really eclectic bill, so it wasn't just like punk bands. There was a hip hop group, there was like a jazz band.
That's awesome.
There was like a bunch of different stuff. Like we hosted a listening party, and that was at the bar that Paul works at. Our drummer Paul, he's a really great bartender. And so we hosted this party, and Pabst Blue Ribbon wound up sponsoring it.
What?
We raffled off a bunch of Pabst.
We wound up giving away a vinyl record player.
Pabst Ribbon,
all this cool stuff. People came out and like, it's cool. It was just we were just hanging out, and that was like really fun. So just more stuff like that.
And lastly, what is next after Four Chord Festival for you guys?
Well, we're currently writing more music. Planning on going into the studio and doing an EP. And I don't know, weekend tours, small things.
Yeah, we'll probably do another big tour in the spring. But before then, like weekenders, like 4 or 5 day shows, you know, in a row or something. Just really pushing rad-pop, doing a lot more videos and creating more content like that. But really, it just depends on the opportunities that present themselves. You know.
So when you guys wrote rad-pop, there was like 50 songs you guys did on that?
There are a lot of demos.
There's
yeah.
a lot.
Are you guys like
Some better than most.
turning those into some of the EP?
So, I mean, some of them have made their way into our demos folder now for the new batch of songs, and I think maybe, you know, one of them might, 2 of them maybe, but for the most part, we're having a good time kind of breaking down some boundaries and trying new shit out, and really like, I mean, yeah, I think when Neil and I were writing for rad-pop, we were like, okay, this is kind of the aesthetic, and we kind of tried to write to sort of fit, because that's such an eclectic record as it is, so like, it's kind of all over the place, but we're really trying different stuff this time. Plus, I mean, we know what the demos sound like, we've sat on those songs forever, so like, unless we listen back and something really blows us away, like, there's a reason why we focused on the ones we did for rad-pop, and there's a reason that some made the record, you know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and then there's like, when you write new music, there might be something from an old song that was really cool. That you can sort of like cannibalize it a little bit.
Yeah, I take like a bridge from a song that I wrote when I was in high school or something.
But yeah, man, it's been cool because like I feel like through rad-pop and through writing a lot of songs and like really dissecting it, we kind of found our sound. You know? And so as we're working on the new stuff, it's still us, but it's going to be a little different. You know, it's going to be a little weirder in some ways, or maybe a little more hooky in other ways. It just depends. You know?
This has been the Pop Punk Dad with the guys from Great Heights Band.
Thanks, guys. Check out
Thank you so
rad-pop.
much.
Now that we're at the end of the video, I'd like to remind you to like, subscribe, comment, and stay notified. Why don't you give us a share? Share this on over to some rad people that you know. Check on out the Pop Punk Dad merch shop. Link to that is also in the description below. Helps this channel out and lets me know you love me. I'd also like to take the time to send a special thanks to the Great Heights Band. Thank you so much for a copy of your album rad-pop. I'm super stoked to hear more music from you guys. Neil and Eric were totally rad. That's definitely pun intended. And actually approached me first early in the day and told me that they love my channel and my blog and have been watching the Pop Punk Dad. It's a total humbling experience. You guys can check out all of their music, upcoming shows, and merch in the links below. And make sure you pick up a copy of rad-pop, or at least put it on your Spotty playlist. And above all else, don't forget to stay pop punk. Later.